All right, good afternoon and welcome everybody to another Increasing Hope webinar. Today we're going to be talking with, we're hearing from Mr. Cedric Wright. He is the Program Assistant Outreach Coordinator for the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs. Our topic today is securing your money while shopping. And we all know that when it comes time for the Christmas season, not only are folks out spending money using those credit and debit cards, but the scammers and spammers, they're out there waiting too. They're ready to try to reel in on some of that extra Christmas cash that they're not entitled to. So we're going to be hearing today on how you can make things safer for you and your money while you're buying all those wonderful Christmas presents for folks this holiday season. And Cedric, I will turn this over to you, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Let me switch gears a little bit while I get my PowerPoint up. All right, is everything showing? All right,
Yes, sir.
okay. Here again, my name is Cedric Wright. I am with the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs. I would like to thank Mr. Paul for that wonderful intro, and he's kind of already introduced what I'm going to talk about for today. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and read this disclaimer. This presentation is not meant to serve as a substitute for reading the various laws discussed, seeking legal counsel, or otherwise requesting department guidance and or interpretations on the laws it administers and enforces. This presentation merely serves as an introduction and overview. All right, now that we have that out of the way, let's look at our roadmap and see what we're going to talk about for today. I'm going to give you an overview of South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs because many people don't even know what we do. So hopefully after that, you'll know what we do. We're going to look at some interesting facts as it relates to today's topic. We're going to talk about different online cyber attacks, personal identity theft attacks, examples of phishing and email texts, Cyber Monday, as well as how to stop the damage. Give me just a second. Okay, all right, let's shift. Having a little technical difficulties here. All right, South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs, we are the protection agency for the state of South Carolina. We've been around since 1975, and we're getting ready to celebrate our 46th birthday. Our mission is to protect consumers from inequities in the marketplace. And how do we do that? A good example of that would be through advocacy. With our advocacy department, we step in and we tell, when they have utility companies who want to increase their rates on consumers, we say, hey, people's lights bill, it's high enough. Don't increase it anymore. Our mediation ties in with our consumer services division, which you'll learn about. Our enforcement ties in with our legal division, and education ties in with our public information department, as well as our identity theft unit. Now, a little bit about our consumer services division. They receive and mediate complaints from consumers like yourself through an online portal. And now keep in mind, the complaint process is completely voluntary mediation. And if they receive a complaint that they can't handle, it's actually channeled to the correct jurisdiction. And as you can see, we get about 300 complaints a month from consumers, and we average about $1 million in refunds, credits, and adjustments. Looking at our legal division, a lot of people don't realize this, but our agency, we actually license businesses like credit counseling, and we do help with foreclosure assistance. We license physical fitness gyms. We license funeral homes who wish to issue pre-need contracts, mortgage broking places, prepaid legal services, as well as pawn shops. Our identity theft unit, which is the unit that I represent, my whole job is to educate consumers about identity theft, how to steps that they need to take if you were to become a victim of identity theft. And I also do presentations like this in person, as well as webinars across the whole state of South Carolina. So if you'd like me to come to your church, present to your sorority or your fraternity, I will be more than welcome to come to your event. Our public information department, They're responsible for keeping up our social media. You see, we have a Facebook account, which you're more than welcome to like us on Facebook. We have a Twitter account as well as a YouTube page. And the Public Information and Education Department, they too do presentations as well. And they also are responsible for our brochures, which I'll show you a little later on in the presentation. And they keep our website up to date. And on our website, you can file a complaint if you need to as a consumer. If you're one of those businesses that I articulated about earlier, you can get a license. If you want to check to see whether a business that we license is properly licensed, you can check that as well. Many people don't realize this. You can actually report identity theft as well as scams to us, and you can request for someone, like I told you myself, to do an in-house presentation or a webinar. All right, so you should know a little bit about South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs. So let's get to the meat as to why we are here today. Let's look at some interesting facts. Last year, 4.6 million Android smartphone users downloaded a suspicious wallpaper app that collected and transmitted user data to a site in China. So I guess that means, well, yeah, I'm sure that means all iPhone users were safe. Look at the next one. So far, 69% of Americans have shopped online. Look at this. 25% of Americans shopped online at least once a month. And the majority, which was about 59% of these shoppers, look at this. They bought clothing, and 47% bought Amazon products for the first time. And I'm sure, you can say that because of COVID, you have more people shopping online. A lot of people aren't going in stores. And look at this last interesting point. 59% of US shoppers purchased clothing online between quarters 2 of 2018 and quarters 2 of 2019. Books, movies, games. So as you can see, online shopping has definitely picked up even before COVID. All right, now let's look at this next interesting topic that you may not be aware of. It's called Mobileware. Now, you need to be very careful about scanning QR codes because they look cute and they dress them up, but you want to be very careful about those QR codes because what happens is when you scan these, they try to get your personal information, your PII, which stands for personal identifiable information. That's information like your address, your email address, your bank account number. So be very careful about scanning QR codes because here again, when you scan those codes, sometimes they had embedded malware that tries to get information because the whole idea is to learn things about you and what type of products you would like to buy. And that's how some of you get these spam emails. Let's look at this next one. Malicious holiday mobile apps. These apps are specifically designed for smartphones. And what happens is when you go on these apps, and sometimes when you check on these terms, which most of the times, I'm a victim of this too, we don't oftentimes read the fine print, but when you consent, you are actually consenting sometimes to sell your personal information to them. And this is the scary part. Most of these apps that look good and you purchase them and etc., they are masqueraded as fun games, applications, and etc. So let's look at some mobile download app tips. You only want to download apps, and these even comes to when you want to shop online as well. You want to only download them from official stores. Just because that app looks like it comes from a retailer, you want to make sure that that app is safe because you have a lot of apps that are cloned and they may have misspellings and etc. And here again, even though you may read the review on the apps, you still want to be wise about downloading these shopping apps and different type of apps during the holidays and as you get ready to engage in Black Friday and etc. This next one, which is a real big one, gift cards. Many people don't realize this, but when it comes to holiday gift cards or just gift cards just in general, you want to make sure that you are getting gift cards that are actually in a secure place. Many gift cards, like let's say, for example, Walmart, I've noticed that they have their gift cards out in the open. Sometimes during the holidays, those gift cards may be compromised because what happens is you'll have thieves that will actually use skimmers on those different types of gift cards, and their whole goal is to try to retrieve the PIN number. That's why you may have heard of a lot of instances where people get gift cards and they thought, well, they knew they legitimately put money on it, and when it was given to the person, the money was not there because it's been pinned. So just kind of keep that in mind. When it comes to holiday e-cards, here again, they look cute. A lot of people like them. A lot of people are substituting these type cards for regular gift cards to save on postage. But here again, you want to even be careful about opening up those. Many of those holiday e-cards, they contain malware. Um, uh, Even if it looks like it legitimately came from someplace like Hallmark, if you're in doubt, especially if you can't verify the sender, you want to be careful about clicking on these holiday e-cards. As we look to charities, we know during the Yuletide season and as the holiday approaches, many people will solicit for charities. And you want to be careful about those solicitations where you have those different leaflets that may be put on your car or even phone calls. And definitely be leery about phone calls out of the blue that may come to you asking you to um, solicit to a particular charity. If you want to give to a charity, do your research. Make sure that charity is reputable before you actually give your hard-earned money during this holiday season. You also want to be aware of screensavers. Here again, they look cute. Most of the times during the season, we like to download them on our phones, our tablets, and our computers. But you want to be careful because a lot of these screensavers have malware on them. And here again, with malware, as soon as you put it on your computer, it can wipe out your personal information. And remember, a lot of you use your computers to pay bills. So you may have your social security number, your bank account number, your routing number. So that's why you want to be careful about different downloads. Let's talk about this next interesting fact because many of us, as we've already discovered, will use Amazon for our delivery of packages. But let's look at this. It's called porch pirates. And what happens is if you are expecting a package, always make sure that there is a signature required for delivery. Now, you can have it delivered other places. Many people don't know this. You don't actually have to have that Amazon package come to your house. You can have it delivered to your job, especially during the holiday season where we know scammers are out there. But when you do that, you want to leave specific drop-off instructions. And a lot of people don't know this. Depending upon where you live, Amazon also have what's called Amazon hub lockers. And this is a secure place for your package to be kept instead of on your porch. So just kind of think about those things because you do have what's called porch pirates, and those porch pirates are definitely out there during the holiday season as you're getting ready to shop and etc. When you get ready to shop, credit or debit, that is definitely a question that you want to look at. When it comes to online shopping or just shopping in general, you want to make sure you use a credit card. A credit card allows you to have more security, especially when it comes to doing online shopping. And your credit card is also backed up by the Fair Credit Billing Act. And you want to check your credit card protection plan for return rules on returns as well as purchases. Credit cards are very good to use when it comes to doing your online shopping because think about it. When you use your own debit card, that's your own personal money, and that money immediately comes out of your account. Whereas with a credit card, you're using someone else's money and you have a more secured way of shopping online, especially if you were to become the victim of identity theft with your credit card versus your debit card. Now, let's look at phishing. By definition, phishing is a technique used to fraudulently attain usernames, passwords, credit card numbers, and other sensitive information. Now, let's look at some examples of phishing as it relates to your holiday shopping. This next thing, it's with FedEx. Now, you even if you know that you have legitimately bought something and you are expecting that package to come, you want to be careful about different types of text messages or different type of email messages that you may receive. If there's something wrong with your package, Take the time to call FedEx to verify if there's a problem, even if the email looks legitimate. There also are instances during the holiday shopping where you may receive a text message. Look at this particular one. Hi, Isabella, your FedEx package, and here again, it has a legitimate tracking code, is waiting for you to set your delivery preferences. If you were to receive a text message like this, even if you know you are going to legitimately receive a package, take the time to call and verify if there's an issue, or check the information that's being sent. Also, be careful about clicking on links. Many of these links, as we've discovered, are malicious malware. So just be very careful of that. Look at this. This is coming from Amazon. As you see with this, it says, Dear Amazon visitor, we would like to give back this holiday season to customers that have visited us in the past month. To claim your e-reward worth at least $60, please answer two simple yes or no questions. Here again, even if you know that you have legitimately engaged in Amazon for your online shopping, you definitely have to be careful. And as you can see, this is not an official Amazon link. Also, there's a misspelled word in the first line. So these are red flags that you need to look for as you engage in online shopping. Let's look at this one from Walmart. This letter is to advise you about the order which has been addressed to you. You have 4 days to pick it up in any local store Walmart. Here again, always verify, even if it looks legitimate, even if you know that you are expecting a package. Let's look at some common holiday scams. And these are scams that you need to look out for as you get ready to do your shopping. The first one, and I'm sure you've probably seen this on Facebook, it's called Secret Sister. Most of the times this is seen on Facebook, and it claims to feign that you're going to receive 36 gifts. But here again, with this Secret Sister scam, the whole aim is to get your personal identity. And look at how it looks on Facebook. Look at this. I'm looking for 6 more ladies interested in a holiday gift exchange. Even if you get something like this coming from somebody who you legitimately know on Facebook, definitely you got to watch this. Cyber Monday, that's another thing that's very popular along with Black Friday. Avoid clicking on advertisements direct. Many of these advertisements may pop up on Facebook. Do not click on these links, even if it's enticing enough, because it's offering you 70% off or 50% off or even 35% off. Be very careful about coupons that pop up via social media like Facebook, Instagram, and etc. If you would like a coupon for a particular place, go on their website and look for a coupon, or wait until you receive a coupon in the mail. Which leads me to my next point, coupon scams. Here again, many coupon scams copy reputable retailers such as Target and Walmart. But the key to this is they're going to ask you a few questions before you can claim that coupon. Here again, be very careful about putting in your personal information. And I don't even recommend engaging in these type of scams as it relates to coupons. You also want to be careful about advertisements. For example, let's look at this one here. It's an advertisement for a grill. And remember, as you get ready to do online shopping, you're going to have a lot of discounted items. So you can see this is one for a gas grill, but there's several things wrong with this. The first thing that you see wrong is the fact that it's not a secure website. A secure website looks like HTTPS, and that S stands for secure. Look at this next point. Number 2, limited time only. That's a red flag. Now, this next red flag on number 3 should be a big clue that this is a scam. This grill was originally $760, and all of a sudden it's been marked down to $267. Although that would be a great deal if this were actually true, but here again, if it seems too good to be true, you definitely don't need to engage in it. And the last big red flag that you need to be careful of, especially when you're shopping for products online, look at this one. It says pay by bank transfer for a further 10%. All right. Even though that may be enticing to get an additional 10% off or 20% off, be very careful about methods of payment, especially when it comes to sites like eBay, Amazon, and etc. Make sure you're going through reputable sites to purchase products because scammers during the holidays have been known to clone reputable products on these sites in order to get you to make a purchase. And we talked about the different types of coupons. Here again, these coupons are very enticing. They represent reputable um, 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 retail stores like Tanger Outlet and etc. But only get coupons for shopping through the actual store and not online. Now, if by chance you possibly become the victim of identity theft through shopping, let's look at some ways to help you stop the damage. And I talked about this already. You want to make sure that your URL is secure. And a secure website, as indicated here, looks like HTTPS. An unsecure website lacks the S. So make sure when you're shopping on, now let me say this, you may have some sites that may seem legitimate and it may lack the S. However, I would still be careful about putting in your personal information. As you get ready to shop online, you want to make sure you have something as simple as your antivirus protection up to date. If you do not keep your antivirus protection up to date, your computer or whatever personal electronic device that you're using is not going to be protected against malware and viruses. If you become the victim of identity theft because you have shopped and something has happened, you immediately need to check your credit report. And now, because of COVID, you can get a free credit report until April of next year. You may have to put what's called a fraud alert. A fraud alert is free to place. And one thing about a fraud alert, when you call one credit bureau, they take care of notifying the other credit bureaus. So if you do your fraud alert today, you have to remember a year from now to renew that fraud alert. Also, we have many of you may have family members who are in the Army. A lot of people don't know this, but you have what's called an active duty alert. And this is for military personnel. And the way that they get this is they have to show military ID or papers to authenticate that they are actually in the military. And the good thing about this will remove their name from pre-screened credit card offers for 2 years. So keep that in mind. And you may need to even put what's called a security freeze in place. A security freeze, let's say, for example, someone may steal some of my personal information or my social security number while I'm doing shopping. So this prevents them from actually taking my social security number and opening up new lines of credit. Because what happens is as soon as you call TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, they will give you a special PIN number. That PIN number will allow you to thaw out the security freeze, whereby you can actually have your credit approved for whatever you're trying to purchase. So a security freeze is a good thing, even outside of online shopping. These are good things to have in place to protect your identity. Now, I know that I went through a lot of information, but are there any questions about the information that was presented or anything that you need to know about online shopping? Any questions? I take your questions at this time.
One thing I've noticed here, we even get the calls at the agency is we'll get the calls from Amazon. They're usually automated calls, but they always seem to talk about a very large purchase, confirming a purchase or talking about returning or delivering. It's usually anywhere from $400 to $1,000. What should people do when they receive those calls?
You would want to hang up, and then here again, because what happens is many of these scammers know that you have ordered something, so you want to immediately hang up from that, call Amazon directly, and then inquire about whatever you need to inquire about. Don't fall for those calls, even text messages as well as emails. Are there any other questions about securing your information or shopping online? Anything you need clarity on?
Cedric, can you go back and tell us, share again what to do when identity theft happens to you? Can you go back to that slide?
Okay, if you become the victim of identity theft, you can put what's called a fraud alert. A fraud alert tells a business that, hey, you need to take extra precautionary methods to ensure Cedric Wright is Cedric Wright. I particularly sought this because my wife and I, we were victims of the tax data breach that happened in 2015. So to protect the integrity of my identity, I sought this as well as the security freeze. And so basically, let me give you a good example of this. You go to Belts and you're trying to apply for a card. As soon as you apply for that card, there's something that comes up to the business to say, make sure you verify that this individual is the individual seeking this card, as well as the security freeze. A security freeze puts a lock on your credit reports. In the example that I gave earlier, if someone were to steal my social security number, they cannot take my social security number and open up new lines of credit, because as soon as they try to take my social security number and apply for a Discover card, it will immediately be denied because it won't even allow that individual to run my credit. So these are good things to have. And when you call TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, each of them will give you a special PIN number, and that PIN number will allow you to thaw out your freeze in case you need to make a purchase. These are good things to have, and guess what? They're free. So definitely take advantage of the security freeze as well as the fraud alert. Free things that you can put in place to help protect your identity. So definitely use these to be proactive before something happens. Any other
Cedric,
questions?
I have one other to bring up, and it has to do with unsubscribing. Is that effective?
Yes, it is, and I take it a step further. I unsubscribe and block
Okay.
to ensure that they cannot send any other solicitations to me. Because sometimes they will try to spoof and use a different email address. Are there any other questions relating to today's topic? Anything you want to know about protecting your identity while shopping? Oh, let me say this. Be careful about using Wi-Fi. Many people don't understand this, but you don't want to use Wi-Fi in public places like the library, hotels, and etc. You have a lot of thieves that will actually try to spoof reputable Wi-Fis in order to get your personal information. I do not recommend doing online shopping using Wi-Fi. That's just not safe, because here again, if you're doing online shopping and you're going to use Wi-Fi, that means if you make a purchase, you are using your credit card, or you may have to put in information like your address, phone number, and etc. So I do not recommend using public Wi-Fi to do online shopping. Now, I'm not saying Wi-Fi is bad, but at least use it within the parameters of your home, or someplace that you know that's safe, not someplace that's public or has a lot of access to the public.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Going back to the identity theft thing, what happened to me last year was, and I didn't know it, but I mean, I'm subscribed to Credit Karma and I have the Experian app, both free. I can look at my credit scores and such, but I got an alert from Experian about an application that had been submitted for the Small Business Administration for a loan.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any, I have no small business at all. So I immediately called, of course, I called SBA, and I confirmed that it was an application. They shut it down. And when I contacted one of the credit bureau, Experian, they went ahead and did the fraud alert. And how effective that was when I applied for credit on there, it actually has a feature that they have to call me The creditor
Yes.
called me. So the creditor called me and said, we're just calling you per your fraud alert to confirm that you. Are you trying to apply for? And can you tell me, they asked for some sort of identification information, something that would tie me directly to the application that I'm submitting. It works great.
Right. And by chance, do you have a security freeze as well?
No, I just have the fraud alert on there. In fact, I didn't realize, and it's good to know that you have to renew it every year. I actually am probably due to renew that. So
Yes, sir. Now, if you've been the victim of identity theft and you actually have an affidavit to accompany whatever has happened, that 1 year changes to 7 years. But yes, it does expire. That's why it's good to have a combination of the fraud alert and the security freeze, because many people don't remember to do the fraud alert renewal. So I highly recommend the security freeze and the fraud alert. Any other questions? These are awesome questions. Any other questions about how to protect yourself while shopping online? Anything about the fraud alerts, security freezes? Any questions about that? Are there any questions in the chat?
no, sir, nothing in the chat.
Being someone that's a little, shall we say, a little bit age sensitive, for those of us who are perhaps in our 60s and 70s, a lot of this is a challenge to us and it's overwhelming. Do you have any kind of recommendation as to how to really get started before you walk before you run with what you're talking about?
You talking about as it relates to doing online shopping?
Yeah, I mean, start somewhere because this subject is overwhelming in terms of a lot of information.
Well, here again, the biggest thing that you want to make sure when you do online shopping, you want to make sure that you are engaging in reputable websites. You don't want to engage in a website that's, let's say, for example, advertising something and you receive an email and you click on that link. If it's something that you find interesting, like a special grill or a special type of electronic device, go to Amazon and actually get that particular device. And don't even fall for a lot of the advertisements that you see on Facebook. Many people try to click on links on that Facebook, and those links are linked to scammers. So you definitely, the first thing I would recommend is using a reputable website to do your shopping. I see a question. The question is, do you consider Amazon to be a safe place to shop? Yes, it can be a safe place to shop, but at the same time, in everything that's good, there's evil. So you just have to make sure that you want to verify different things. And if you're in doubt, even after you shop, you can actually call Amazon and verify to make sure everything went through or they actually have your order. Those are things that you want to do. But you still want to be wise when it comes to Amazon. And I would even go so far to say that instead of using maybe your debit card, you might want to even maybe get a prepaid debit card to shop on Amazon. And also be careful about saving your personal information, because a lot of people, they save their credit card information or their debit card information within within Amazon. Those aren't safe things to do. Don't ever save that information. Any other questions? Any other questions? All right, as I talked about earlier, if you want to connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, we have those different channels. I have provided the URL for that. We also have various publications that we give out for free: Ditch the Pitch, Identity Theft Prevention Guide, Credit Report Guide. All of these that you are more than welcome to request for, we mail them out for free. We have our 1-800-922-1594 number. Also, this is my personal information. If you think of questions that may pop up after today's webinar, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Again, my name is Cedric Wright. I'm the outreach coordinator with the South Carolina Department of Consumer Affairs. I've provided you with my email address as well as my direct office number. Again, any questions or concerns? Any other questions? I know I threw a lot at you, but hopefully I've scared you enough that if by chance you are doing some practices as it relates to online shopping that may be a little sketchy, hopefully you will change after today and be a little bit wiser and be a little bit more cautious about how you shop online. Thank you all so much. You have been a wonderful audience. I also want to thank Increasing Hope for taking the time to invite me and even offering this topic at such a very critical time as these, especially since, as I stated earlier, more people are doing more shopping online to protect themselves against the spread of COVID-19.
Thank you so much, Cedric. That was a lot of great information, and I will be going on Amazon and taking off my little credit card.
I appreciate you doing that.
Convenience.
I appreciate that. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will.
And like I said, Ms. Kim, think about, instead of using a credit card, think about just maybe using a prepaid debit card, or you can just load money on that, because remember, with that prepaid debit card, it's not linked to your personal bank account.
Right.
And I even recommend prepaid debit cards for things that you have. Some people get what they call the drafts and stuff. Like if your Roku or your different types of things that you're paying monthly, use
Right.
that instead of linking it to your bank account. Or instead of giving them your routing number and your account number, you think about making a substitute that way.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for all the great information for today.
Yeah, this was
Thank
really
you for
good
having
stuff.
me.
I mean, there's a lot of things today that I had no idea about a Amazon hub locker, because I do a lot of Amazon shopping.
Right.
Had no idea. I didn't even consider using a credit card instead of a debit card. And hey, I'm guilty. I get these little fancy wallpapers on my phone. I didn't even think about the malware. So
Right.
now I'm going to be very mindful of doing that. So
Right.
So, hey, Cedric, we want to thank you for taking your time today to give us all of this great information. It's a lot of stuff, but hey, you know what? Guess what? If people weren't making these mistakes and falling for this stuff, and
Yes,
we didn't
sir.
have the bad agents out there doing what they're doing,
Yes.
but you wouldn't be doing what you're doing, and we wouldn't be doing this presentation. So it's great stuff. Good to know. And again, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for the folks who are taking the time to watch the video today, right now, live with us on Zoom. We will, of course, have it available via recording here at some point, so you'll be able to watch it and hopefully learn some stuff from it. That's why we're here. So, thank you, everybody. We're gonna I think let's see, we're at 143. So we're gonna give you back some of your time today. Thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you.